and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Well, sort of live. I'm pre-recording it. It's about 6:10 right now on my clock. You're watching this live at 9 o'clock, but the Sixers are playing at 7:30 tonight, so got to get this recording out of the way, now, so I can sit down, enjoy the Sixers game, Sixers versus Heat, Game 5. But anyway, Fairway to Heaven. Make sure you shoot us a follow on Twitter at Fairway2Heaven _. Greatly appreciate it, because if you're following and you're tallying along, we've had a really good year, but we had another great weekend last weekend at the Wells Fargo Championship. Max Homa, 28-1 winner, my fourth outright of the year, seventh in the last 16 months approximately. Not perfect, but you pick 7 outrights in 16 months, you're making money. Also, all my fantasy picks last week, and we had so many great plays last week in my player pool. So you got to make sure you're watching this show, because you're going to get some great information. We're going to have some fun. I'm not throwing all this analytical stuff at you, throwing a little bit at you, a little bit of gut and feel, and we have a little fun while we're at it and all. So again, nice week. Max Homa, man, 2020, hell of a performance last week. Some awful conditions there at the Wells Fargo, but you know what? We got to move on from last week. I am the only guy out there that will show all my losses, but you got to give me 30 seconds to brag about my wins too. Last week was a good win. Last week was a good week at the Wells Fargo, but we move right on to the AT&T Byron Nelson Championship. Make sure you click share on this show, retweet on this show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you put the thumbs up, okay? Hit that subscribe button. There's 15 shows a week on DSM Media. You'll want to not miss a minute of it. Wide range of content on DSM Media. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Real quick, and again, follow Fairway to Heaven on Twitter. If you have any questions, I can't answer them live on the air. If you have any questions for this week's Byron Nelson, just send me a DM. DMs are open on Fairway to Heaven. Send me a quick DM. I'll answer your questions. Any fantasy content there is out there, make sure you do that. But like I said, we're going to move on to the AT&T Byron Nelson Championship this week. It's the week before the PGA Championship. I'm sure you haven't heard a single person say that yet. There's a lot of narratives that go on when you're the week before a major. How deep will the field be? How serious will the main players take it? There's lots that goes on to it. This event here normally struggles to draw an elite crowd. Next week being the PGA Championship, the big names normally just head off to wherever the PGA is, a week early. Get a little practice in, take it easy, relax, gear up for the second major. But we're playing it down in McKinney, Texas, TPC Craig Ranch. I don't know what's Craig's Ranch. It should be Craig Ranch. It's only about 200 miles from Southern Hills, where the PGA is next week. So we actually have a half decent field. 8 of the top 20 golfers in the world, are there for this, or are at the course this week for this event. So, it's a pretty strong field. I mean, we got world number 1 Scotty Scheffler playing this week, which is insane. So there's a lot to break down this week, a lot to digest and really try to figure it out. The problem this week is going to be, obviously, how focused these main guys are. And I don't really buy totally into the narrative that once you're at the event, you're giving it your all. We saw that with George Spieth winning earlier this year. If you're there, you're giving it your all. There's none of this, well, I'm taking it lightly, I'm not going to put a lot of effort. I don't buy that per se. But, you can look at it like, Dustin Johnson. We're going to get to him in a few minutes. How these guys have performed at the top end the week before a major, if they have played. So you can take a little bit from that. Look, this is a bombers, birdie, low scoring event. Last year, KH Lee just came out of nowhere, stormed the field, won by 20, was 25 under. I mean, that's an insane score, 25 under. There were 6 guys 20 under or better last year. If you finished last year at 16 under, which last week, Maxim was 8 under last week? Oh, hold on, I got the Wells Fargo because I was going to talk about the Wells Fargo a little bit more. Yeah, 8 under last week at the Wells Fargo. 16 under, that doesn't even get you in the top 20 last year at this event. So it's a scoring, it's completely, you saw slop fest, tight, tough, scoring conditions last week at Wells Fargo. Complete opposite this week. You're going to see scores that are going to go low. You're going to see 63s and 64s nonstop every single round from multiple players. And which is crazy because it's a long course. It's a nearly 7,500 yard par four or 72. It's a long course. It's down in Texas. The weather is the only defense this course has. If it's windy, Texas winds, can pick up at a moment's notice. It looks like it's going to be hot, dry, and very minimal wind for Texas down there. So it is not going to be out of the realm of possibility that 25 under again is the winning score, which will tell me one key thing, that birdies are better are going to play a major factor this week when we're building our lineups. Birdies are better. So important. One of several key things that are important, but birdies are better, and even DraftKings points, because just people that get a lot of points, you're going to want guys that stick around. You're going to want guys that make the cut. You're going to want guys that go low, but you're going to want guys that are going to score points. There's a lot of guys that are going to, shooting 15 under. That ain't going to win you a GPP this week. You're going to need to have a couple guys that are going to put 100 plus points up on the board on DraftKings. So birdies are better, and to a lesser extent, DraftKings points, things to focus on. I can't find it. I was getting ready to do this show, and I can't find where I wrote it down. Maybe I didn't write it down, so I don't have the exact numbers. But last year at this event, it was like 72. So I'm just going to say over 70% of fairways were hit. And also on top of that, over 70% of greens and regulations were hit. So driving distance, it's a long course. Driving distance is going to play a major factor in this. Approach is going to play a factor, but around the green, stats, they don't really matter to me. If anything, they don't matter at all to me this week. But these greens are so big, that's why you hit them. Something that I added, it's not in my model, but literally 5 minutes ago before I start recording this episode, I added it to the side of the model at 0%. You're going to want guys that don't three-putt the ball. You're going to want great lag. They're going to have 30, 40, 50-yard first putts. You're going to want great lag putters that aren't going to three-putt. So there's a lot of things there that are going into it. So I'm looking at this week. Birdies are better. I'm looking at approach. I'm looking at driving distance. I'm looking at proximities, 200 plus yards, 175 to 200, things like that, because you're going to have a lot. You're going to have a lot of long second shots on this long course. Par 5 scoring, if you're going to shoot 25 under, you better birdie every single par 5. You better be able to get an eagle or two, mixed in there. Very, very important. And I never really pay attention to the shots gained putting category and statistic. I just keep it off to the side, see whether they're a good putter or not. I bet Keegan last week, along with Max Homa. Keegan is captain of Team No Putt. You're going to need guys that can putt this week. And Keegan, let's be real, Keegan putted really damn well last week. So, they're the things I'm looking at. So I'm going to bring up my screen here, and unfortunately, hold on. Let me get to edit custom model. I got the rounds up. This is what I'm looking at this week here with my model, okay? Obviously, like I said, so literally 70% of my model is 3 stats this week. The approach, I got 20%. Driving distance, 25%. And birdies are better, 25%. That is 70% of my model. I've got 15% on putting, which is very rare for me. Obviously, at the bottom, I got DraftKings points and 3-putt avoidance, 0, just because I add them there at the end. I've also got longer par 3s, 200 to 225. That's one of the other defenses of this course. You've got some long par 3s. So I put that in there at 5%. Par 5 scoring, I put in 5%. And as always with me, there's always 5% shot gain total. I've also changed it up a little bit. Up to this point, I've been doing 36 rounds. Last 36 rounds. We're at the point of the season now. It's deeper in the season. I think last 24 rounds is okay to go with here. So this is where I'm looking at with my model here. Okay, last 24 rounds. Approach, driving distance, birdies are better. So important. Shots gained total. Par 5 scoring. Par 3 scoring on longer holes. Putting, DraftKings points. This is what I'm looking at right now. And, this is a different kind of model for me. So it's going to give me different results. But if my results have shown me anything, is that trust what I believe in. And this is what I believe in at this point right now. And to sidetrack for a second, that's why I kind of minimized it there off to the screen. Everybody's got a different system. There's dozens of these fantasy golf podcasts that are out there. Everybody shows their winning. Very few of us show our losses like me. But, everybody's got a different system. It's results that matter. That's all. And my results might work, but so do other people's results work. So, there's different ways to really figure out how to break this down. Don't worry about whether they're big bettors or small bettors or whatever, or they play, max enter the $1 million contest. or they max enter the 25-cent jukebox. If their system works, listen to it. Try to get a little information, and trust your gut. Listen to what I have to say. Listen to what Rick Good has to say. Listen to what Brian K has to say. Listen to a little bit of everybody, and draw your own conclusions and figure out what system works best for you. This is the system that works for me, and that's why I bring that up. So I'm going to run my model. I mean, I've already run it. I already know how it is. But let's do it. Here it comes, slowly but surely. I can take a quick sip of my beer here. It's really taking its good old time to run its mile, and there it goes. All right, so let's go up to the top. Let's sort my rank. No doubt, as expected, Justin Thomas, who's the second most expensive guy, finishes number 1 in my model this week. Johnny Vegas, number 2. Scotty Scheffler, the world number 1, number 3. Kurt Kitayama, who's on fire right now, number 4. Sam Burns, number 5. Dustin Johnson's number 6. So we're going to go through. I'm going to resort this by price, price category and price tier here in a second. And you see these stars on here. They're just guys that I'm eyeing up. Doesn't mean I'm playing them, just so you know, if you see this, just because I got stars next to them, I need to keep an eye on their ownership percentage. I got to keep an eye on different things with them. That's why that they're there. Let me take this off the screen so you can see this. Maybe that didn't really help there. We'll just put that back up there so everybody knows what we're talking about. The AT&T Byron Nelson Classic. All right, so we're going to resort this by salary here. Obviously, the world number 1, Scotty Scheffler, $10,900. There's only 4 names in this 10K price range here, and I think there's an argument to be made. While I'm talking here, I want to refresh up to this moment ownership percentages. There's an argument to be made for each one of these guys. Scotty Scheffler, 10-9. Obviously the best golfer in the world right now. Great birdie or better guy. Shots gained total, DraftKings points, putting is really good. He's a great driver of the golf ball, great on a. He literally does everything good. He's not ranked really well in that par 3, 200, 225. Maybe he just doesn't have a lot of longer shots. Maybe his courses that he's played just don't have longer par 3s. I don't know, but I can get by on that. And he's the world number 1. And right now he's only projected at 15.5%. I just updated my numbers here. Only 15.5% for Scotty Scheffler. So you can make a case for him. Justin Thomas is obviously the number 1 player. If he doesn't win this week, he might win next week. I might go looking for my future odds on him to win the PGA next week already. He's probably one of the favorites to win next week. Again, just like him. Does everything. Fantastic, except for the longer par 3s, which is really surprising for a guy that's an elite ball striker like him to struggle on those longer par 3s. Dustin Johnson, which we're going to talk about in a second, and Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth won finally this year, on Mother's Day weekend, which seems to be his thing. He's only 29th in my model, and he's coming in at 14% owned projections right now. And again, this week more than anything, like I said, I'm focusing in on ownership percentage more than ever, and I'm going to because a lot of guys I like. There's a lot of guys in that 16 to 22% that are really playable this week. So tomorrow afternoon, when I go to fill out my lineups, I'm going to be refreshing those ownership percentages a lot. So, definitely keep an eye on them this week. Jordan Spieth kind of strikes me as one of those, guys that he does a lot of things really well, except for putting the ball and, 3-point putt avoidance. But that's a recency thing. Now, if I go deeper dive into his thing, into his profile, I mean, he won the RBC Heritage losing 2.5 strokes putting. Okay, obviously missed a cut the Masters. Valero, 35th place, lost 7.5 strokes almost putting. Missed a cut the Players. The Genesis, 26th place, he gained a third of a stroke. But if we go back in time, let's start middle of last summer, end of last summer, he was a putter. That's what he is. He's a great putter. 5.3 strokes gained at the St. Jude. A stroke gained at the U.S. Open. 2 strokes gained at the Memorial. 7.1 at the Charles Schwab. 5.7 when he won at the Valero last year. Jordan Spieth's a putter, and he's putting terribly right now. So does he bounce out? Is he going to start coming around? He can't putt bad for the rest of his life. Is this the week? I don't know. You give me a hard time saying not to play Jordan Spieth either. So we're going to backtrack one guy here to Dustin Johnson at 10-2. Let me close out that there. Dustin Johnson is the lowest projected owned guy in this top tier range. Hell, you can even throw the 9,900 Hideki Matsuyama. He's the lowest owned guy, Dustin Johnson, at 10.8% right now projected. And I know it looks like he doesn't model out well. Well, he models 6, but he's got some red flags. 3 putts, longer iron there. I just don't get why so many good hitters of the golf ball and good approach guys and iron hitters are so bad on long par 3s. I really got to figure that one out. drives the golf ball well, great on par fives, makes a lot of birdies, scores a lot of points. Okay. And Dustin Johnson, rightfully so, has not played good golf, by his standards for a while. Missed the cut at the RBC, 12th at the Masters, 39th Valspar, 9th at the Players, missed cut Genesis, 25th at the Farmers, and we're going back into last year, 45th at the CJ Cup. Okay. But Dustin Johnson is one of those guys I was talking about earlier. These guys playing before the major. So I for some reason, it made me look at it. So last year, he took a few weeks off before the Open, finished in 8th place at that. The PGA Championship, he missed the cut, but he took a couple weeks off. The U.S. Open, he played the week before the U.S. Open, where he finished 19th in the U.S. Open last year, 10th at the Palmetto the week before. So he played that tune-up and did really well in both events. The Masters, he missed the cut in 2021, and he had taken a month off. We'll go back even further. When he played the Masters in November, the November Masters and won, played the week before the U.S. Open, finished in second place. Go to the U.S. Open, played the week before, won the Tour that's the Tour Champion. There was a week and a half off there. PGA, the year before in 2020, played the week before, 12th and a second. A lot of times when Dustin Johnson tees it up the week before a major event, it typically leads to both a good week and a good week at the major the following week. Kind of tells me that, he's modeling out pretty strong. He's going to be low owned. He does have a lot of 3-putts, and that still scares me. Let me go back to this thing. Let me look at him like George Spieth. When was he ever a good putter? Let's see here. Some of his better play. He gained 5.5 strokes at the Players putting. Starting at the CJ Cup, he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events from the St. Jude to the CJ Cup. 1.2 strokes gained putting, 9.5 strokes gained putting, 5.6 strokes putting. He missed the cut the Northern Trust in August. Still gained 2.5 strokes putting, 1.5 strokes putting. Didn't do well at the 3M. Then 1.43. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 tournaments in a row. This is back when he was still playing at a much higher level. Gained strokes putting. He's missed 4 last 5 tournaments he's played in. He's lost strokes putting. But outside of that, he's an excellent putter. So I think those numbers, when you run 24 rounds, some of these numbers can be skewed a little bit. I really think Dustin Johnson is a strong play this week. I don't know what his odds are right now. He was 20, 22 to 1 at one point. They may have come down. They may have gone up. I don't know. But, man, based off of ownership percents, I'm thinking at this point, with a strong likelihood, I'm going to have 21 lineups, 5 or 6 Dustin Johnson clicks. I have to put 2 or 3 Justin Thomas clicks in there. If he's not winning the PGA Championship next week, he's winning here this week. So you kind of gotta have a little bit of him. I think I fade Spieth and Scotty Scheffler. I don't know what it is with Scotty Scheffler. I just think if anybody's not going to be up to the task this week, Texas boy down there, around family, he hasn't played since the Masters. He's ready to win another major next week. Maybe this is the week he coasts a little bit. He'll make the cut. Might even make top 10. I don't know. And I don't see him being only a 15% owned guy. I think that number will be up much closer to 20. Justin Thomas is at 19.9 right now. He's going to probably be up to 25%. So that's where your ownership percentages are going to come from in the top tiers, Scheffler and Thomas. Take a play at Dustin Johnson. Jordan Spieth's got a lot of boom or bust. Jordan Spieth might miss the cut this week. He might finish in the top 5. So that's at your own risk. All right, let's look down here in the 9K range. There's so many great plays in the 9K range. And I should be showing you these ownership percentages. I love Sam Burns. He's projected almost 22% right now. Will Zalatoris, just over 21%. Joaquin Neiman, 17%. That's some high ownership. Hideki at 13.3 is a guy that I'm looking at in this range. Hideki, if he plays. Now, everybody played Paul Casey last week. He withdrew. It's a risk to play Hideki Matsuyama. It obviously is. But you got to think that Hideki Matsuyama is one of the best golfers in the world when healthy. He finished 14th at the Masters, missed the cut at the Valero. He had some withdrawals there, too. 20th at the Arnold Palmer, 39th at the Genesis, 8th, 30th, first at the Sony Open, 13th, first at the Zozo. When Hideki plays, Hideki's great. And at 13% and at 9,900, if you don't want to play Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler, play Dustin Johnson at 10-2 and Hideki Matsuyama at 99. I think it's worth it. Now, stay over your line. And I put it out on Twitter today on the Fairway to Heaven page. It's about time DraftKings makes some changes, and you can have a late withdrawal there, at some point. But they'll never do it. So you got to keep your eye on that, especially tomorrow. See how he's doing and all. But man, if Hideki Matsuyama tees it up, there's little doubt in my mind that he's going to make a deep run. There's literally no doubt in my mind. These other guys, Sam Burns, Will Zalatoris. I mean, I had a $5 free bet, which is a lot for me to bet on an outright. I put it on Will Zalatoris, even though it was only 14-1. Will Zalatoris, I think, is a slam dunk play. I think he's my favorite to win this event. Does everything really well outside of putting. But again, we've seen him putt well from time to time. Let me bring up his details here. He's got, he hasn't putted well in a long time. But, last year there were stretches where he was putting well. But he's so good at so many other different things that Will Zalatoris, I think, is a slam dunk play this week. Slam dunk. And his approach play is so good, first in this field in the last 24, that he's not going to have those long three putt. We're not going to have to worry about three putt avoidance with him. So, Will Zalatoris is great. Sam Burns, a great play this week. One of the best putters in the field, fourth in the last 24 rounds. Joakim Niemann at 93. You're going from 22 and 21% Burns and Zalatoris. Niemann at 17%. That's a killer that he's that high. I love Joakim Niemann. I got an outright on him as well. Again, makes a lot of birdies. Makes a lot of DraftKings points. Third and fourth in those two categories. Drives the ball decently enough. Great approach player. I was really hoping Joakim Niemann came in around 14, 13%, 15% even, but 17 and trending upward. It's going to be tough. Honestly, realistically speaking, you should only have one of Burns, Zalatoris, and Niemann, at least in your main player pool of guys that you're clicking on 8, 9, 10 times. 50, 60% of clicks on. You really can't play all three of them. You can't even play two of them. If I had to pick one, Zalatoris is the best play, but Niemann at 5%, 4% less owned might be the smarter play. But I guess deep down inside, probably all three will end up in my player pool. It's just going to be Burns and Zalatoris are just going to have to be 3, 4 clicks, where Niemann's 6 or 7. I don't know. It's going to get really, really, really sketchy with those guys. Yeah, let's get down to this 8K range here a little bit here and see what we're looking at, both on ownership percentages and on names. Obviously, Adam Scott, he grades out really well. He's not the longest of hitters, but he does all the other things. He's a good approach player, makes birdies, great putter. That's why he makes so many birdies. Taylor Gooch, love Taylor Gooch this week. Great in that 200, 225. Doesn't three-putt the ball very well, many times at all. Makes a lot of birdies on par fives. Taylor Gooch is somebody that can make a really good run this week. Let's deeper dive here. 14th at the Masters. He's had inconsistent results this year. Missed the cut the players, but that could have been the wrong side of the draw. But even though he missed the cut, he was still gaining strokes putting. Arnold Palmer, when he finished 7th, gained 10.2 strokes total to the field. Tee to green, off the tee. Approach was 6.3. Around the green putting. It's really good. Going back to the RSM when he won. You don't have to worry about off the tee. Because as long as you drive the ball, you're going to hit the fairway. And if you don't hit the fairway, you're still going to have a shot at the green. 18.4 strokes gained total that week. 5 putting. 6.5 on approach. This guy, Taylor Gooch, we kind of forgot about Taylor Gooch a little bit because of Max Homa. Taylor Gooch, again, very, very good. He's also, it's not in my thing there, he's first in Eagles made on tour in the last 24 rounds in this field. Eagles, par fives, points. That's what we've been talking about. Taylor Gooch is a slam dunk. Where is he in ownership projections here? It's another one of those high. He's at 14.6 right now. That's acceptable for a guy that can win this event at 8,600, compared to Johnny Vegas, who I love this week as well. He proved last week me right in playing him, being recovered. He's second in my model, Johnny Vegas, 8,400. First on par 5, second on DraftKings points, 6 on approach, 5th on driving distance, 6 birdies or better. But he's 19.5% projected. Taylor Gooch. So when you look at 19.5 to 14.5 at this moment projection, you gotta load up on Taylor Gooch over Johnny Vegas. I like Johnny Vegas this week. I'm sure if that ownership stays under 20%, I will have it. And this is what I'm saying. Willie Z, 20-some percent. Niemann, 20-some percent. Burns, 20-some percent. Vegas, 20%. Gooch, 15. There's a lot of really great plays here. All those names, fantastic plays. But these ownership percentages are out of control. So we talk about stars and scrubs. And in my mind, what I'm thinking about right now on how I'm going to build these lineups is I'm going to try to find 2 or 3 5% or less guys, ownership percentage wise, that I like, that I think they can make the cut. And on the flip side, then pair them with, so instead of stars and scrubs going 2 10K guys and 2 6K guys, not worrying about ownership percentage, I'm going to find 2 owned guys that are in that 20% range and 2 guys in the 5% range. And I'm going to build my lineups that way. Focus in on some high owned guys and some really low owned guys with some really high ceilings that at minimum are going to make the cut. Because even the guys that finish in 40th place, they're still going to score a lot of DraftKings points. So you get 2 guys that are highly owned that make a run at the title, 2 guys that finish in 25th, 30th place that are low owned. It's a recipe for success there. So you really got to work on balancing your ownership percentages this week. The bottom half of this range here, more guys. I absolutely love down in this range. Aaron Wise, I love Aaron Wise. I play him almost every week. He's finally starting to get a slight price bump in a deep field like this 8,100. It's pricey for Aaron Wise. 15.5% owned. But again, great on approach. Great. He makes a lot of points. He scores a lot of points. You just got, because his putter can be inconsistent at times. But let me deep dive and make sure if it's all the time or no. His last 2 events, his putting numbers are bad because of Valspar missing the cut. The players, losing 5 strokes gained putting. But the Mexico Open, where he finished 6th place, he gained a half a stroke putting. 21st at the RBC, gained 2.5 strokes putting. Really strong, really good. We could go down here. Other things. The CJ Cup finished 5th place back in October. Gained strokes putting. 8th at the Shriners. Gained strokes putting. Houston Open. Gained strokes putting. Farmers. Phoenix Open. Missed the cut though. Still gained strokes putting. So Aaron Wise, the tale isn't that he's not that bad of a putter. He could be better. But what did I say? 15.5% right now. It's scary. But I want to get him in my lineups. I got to. Adam Hadwin. I'm going to get Adam Hadwin right one of these times. He's 10th in my model, 4th in approach, 5th birdies are better, 8th shots gained total, 11th par 5s, 1st in the longer par 3s, 11th in DraftKings points, 16th. I'm going to get Adam Hadwin right one of these times. But again, he's another guy. He's at 15.5% right now. It's insane. But these are the guys that have a chance to win the event. 15% for a potential winner is not bad. Cam Champ's another one. His ownership percentage is way lower. He's at 6% right now. But I've ridden him on driving courses. I have ridden Cam Champ. He fell apart, in his last event. In the final round. Where is he here? The Mexico Open kind of fell apart a little bit. I want to see what his round totals were here. Hold on. Yeah, he shot a 70 in the final round. Made some bogeys late at Mexico. But you know what? The guy drives the ball. And the last 2 courses he played, the Masters and the Mexico Open, were driving courses. And he's got a 10th and a 6th place. Places where approach is important, like Valero or the Players. Missed the cut at those, didn't gain strokes. It's the courses that he performs well at. 3M Open. Won that. Gain strokes on approach. Gain strokes off tee to green. Off the tee. Because they're driving courses. It's another driving course. Give me Cam Champ 8,000. Again, price jump. Price drop actually because at Mexico he was 9,400, I believe 93 maybe. But before that he was a 7K guy, 8K. You gotta play Cam Champ at 5 or 6%. Absolutely, no doubt about it. In my opinion, I think I covered all the names there in that range. So let's talk the 7K range here. More names that I love. More names that we got to watch ownership percentage on. More names that who knows how it's going to shake out. I mean, you can start at the top with Alec Noren and Maverick McNeely. Great plays. McNeely's projected at 15%. Alec Noren 12%. Both guys are playable guys this week. 17th in my model for Noren. He's a shots gained. He's a putter. He's an approach player, an iron player. Great. Maverick McNeely. I mean, he makes birdies. A ton of them. Scores points. Do you play those guys? Do you go down further into this lineup here? Davis Riley's only 5% owned. You guys know I've been riding the Davis Riley train for a few weeks now. 5th last week in the Mexico Open. He gained 9.4 strokes putting last week at the Mexico Open. He lost strokes on approach, but everything else he was a slam dunk. At the Valspar, again, lost strokes on approach. He gained 7.1 strokes putting when he finished 2nd place there. He's got the one miscut at the RBC Heritage, but that was not a driving course. That was a finesse course. These driving courses, again, scores big. Davis Riley, especially at that ownership percentage, a 5.1%, you got to take a stab at him there. Lanto Griffin is an interesting one, 14%. Lanto Griffin is surprisingly been playing really great golf. People don't realize it. 15th at Mexico, 6th last week at Wells Fargo. He lost strokes around the green both weeks. But we don't care about around the green this week. It doesn't matter. With these large greens and the high rate of hitting them, it doesn't matter. He's gained 9 strokes the last 2 weeks on approach. 9. 15.4 shots tee to green. Almost 17 total strokes gained the last 2 weeks, his last 8 rounds of golf. Give me Lanto Griffin this week. Absolutely. Now, 14%, that's doable. I'd like to see that come down. If it gets over 15, you might have to have another story there, but we could talk about that there for sure. Let's see some of these other names as we go down this list here. Matt Kuchar, I'm going to stay away from him this week. Sepp Straka, playing great golf for sure. 7,600. Where's he? Ownership wise, Sepp Straka 10% for a guy that models out 11th for me. 10%. Give me that. Absolutely. You know, missed a cut last week at the Wells Fargo, but he's got a 3rd, a 30th, and a 9th in his 3 previous events before that. He won at the Honda. Playing great golf lately. He putts the ball well, you know, drives the ball well, scores birdies. I'm all over Sepp Straka at that ownership percentage. Sebastian Munoz, he wasn't originally. Then somebody else talked about Sebastian Munoz. Let me see. He's at 12.2%. He's not on my radar. He's 22nd in my model. Let's see, 29th, 33rd. I just guess at that owner. He's finished top 20 or top 30 4 of his last 5 events. Top 33, we'll say, his last 5 events. Top 39 his last 6 events played. Didn't even withdraw recently from an event. Let me get back to Sebastian Munoz here. What, 76? There he is right there. He's listed in the field this week. He did withdraw at the RBC. Yeah, so he's got some withdrawals there. So you got to worry about that to an extent. I'm going to backtrack here. It looks like Brian Harman might have withdrawn. He did. All right, so Brian Harman withdrew. He wasn't on my playing list this week, but just so you know, it just popped up on my screen that Brian Harman withdrew. You know, Sebastian Munoz might be in that Hideki category at 12%. I don't know. I'd rather play Hideki at 13%. That's insane. Think of that. Mito, guy that eventually is going to win. I don't know when he is. I'm still playing the other Chilean in Joakim Niemann instead. Keith Mitchell, driver of the golf ball. Great on par 5s. Gotta love Keith Mitchell in driving tournaments as well. Let me go down here. Where his ownership percentage at 13.5%, probably trending upwards. Do you play Keith Mitchell this week? I don't know. Not at that ownership. See, again, this week, this is literally, you're gonna have to stay tapped in to my Twitter account, Fairway to Heaven, when I post who I play and what these ownership percentages are like Wednesday after. I'll probably be working on my lineups about 3-4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I gotta get. I might even wait till 9 o'clock. I mean, that would be bad for you guys to wait till 9 o'clock to start working on lineups and getting you guys some information. But ownership percentages are going to be so crucial. I might post some snapshots of where they are throughout the day. You gotta focus on these ownership percentages this week. It's something that I've always stayed away from, but certain weeks it's just important. Kurt Kitayama. We got to talk Kurt Kitayama. Halley's only 13% projections right now. I have no idea. I would have projected him at this price. He's not getting a price jump after how well he's played. Only 7,400. Finished 15th last week at the Wells Fargo. Lost strokes around the green. Not the greatest putter last week, but gained 10.5 strokes tee to green, 2.5 off the tee, 8.4 on approach. Second place at the Mexico Open. Gained 5 strokes putting, 12.7 overall. Kurt Kitayama, 3rd at the Honda a few months back. He had a couple missed cuts mixed in there, but Kurt Kitayama, I think, has figured something out. You're going to tell me I can get Kurt Kitayama at that price at 13%? All day. All day. Matt Neesmith, 7,300. Another guy I love. Always. He's like my cheaper Aaron Wise. I'm playing Matt Neesmith all the time. And there's no reason not to. Even though he lost strokes putting last week at the Wells Fargo, 31st place, it was only 0.2 strokes putting. He almost broke even there. RBC, lost 0.7. I'm going to play Matt Neesmith until he burns me, and he hasn't burned me yet. 29th in the field, last 24 in 3-point avoidance. So even though he doesn't have the greatest putter, he still lag putts really well. Really good on the par fives. Really great on approach. You got to play Matt Neesmith. Got to. Let's continue on down here. Dylan Fratelli. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Dylan Fratelli. All right, we got two more names here that we definitely have to talk about in the 7K range. Pat Kaziri, guy I love. Pat Kaziri. He's a birdie maker. Pat Kaziri. Let me go down here a little bit here. Last 24 rounds, not so much, but long term, he's been good. Pat Kaziri gained 2.7 strokes putting at the RBC, 7.5 strokes putting at the Players, 1.5 at the Arnold Palmer. You know, he's made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his last 7 cuts. 10th at the Phoenix Open there. Pat Kaziri's a guy to play. Pat Kaziri's ownership is at 11.5%, so maybe you don't. $100 ahead. Dude, he's dead to me. He's been dead to me for a long time. He's been captain of the dead to me list. But man, did Matt Wolff figure something out last week? Is he a better golfer all of a sudden, Matt Wolff? I don't know. You see how bad he's played. Before last week's Wells Fargo, miscut the Masters, miscut the Players, could have been the draw. 61st at the Arnold Palmer, miscut the Honda, 64th at the Farmers, miscut at the Amex. Before that, though, dating back to last year, 11th, 5th. He had a stretch there in October and November. He went 11th, 5th, 2nd, 17th. And then last week he finished 25th. Gain strokes putting around the green, approach, shots gained total, tee to green. We know he's a good driver of the golf ball. Second in this field in his last 24 rounds driving the golf ball. Did Matt Wolff figure something out? At 7,200, he's a guy that can win a golf tournament. Absolutely. It's only at 7% projections right now, which I'm surprised people are jumping on him that quickly. Do you take a stab at Matt Wolff? I think there's an argument to be made that you definitely take a stab at Matt Wolff. You have to wait and see tomorrow when I build my lineups. But I think if his ownership stays in that 5 to 7, maybe 8% range, Matt Wolff's worth a 4 or 5 clicker. I think actually there's going to be more guys in my player pool too this week. With those ownership percentages being high, 21 lineups, I try to stick to about 20 to 22 players. Might have to stretch that to 24 or 25 guys because I'm not going to want 10 clicks of a 25% owned guy. It's not. The value is just not there. So you might stretch it out a little bit more. I don't know. I'll figure that out tomorrow. All right, let's get down to the 6K range here. Look, there ain't a lot to love in the 6K range this week. Steven Yeager wasn't originally part of my plays this week. Then I looked at it. His number, he missed 4 cuts in a row. The Players, the Valspar, the Valero, RBC. But since then, 15th in New Mexico and the 6th at the Wells Fargo. So maybe he's figuring something out now, which would be nice. He's only 3.4%. And this is where you play that 20% guy. Then you come down here and you take Danny Willett and Steven Yeager at 1 and 3.4% projection ownership. Danny Willett at 6,900. Another guy, he's not going to model out fantastic this week. Not at all at 6,900. But if you look at Danny Willett, if you go on his DraftKings page here real quick and see what he's done, he makes cuts. Last week at the British Masters, 16th place, RBC 51st, Masters 12th, 36th at Punta Cana. So his last 4 cuts made. Missed the cut at the Valspar, but then had 3 more. So 8 of his last 9 cuts he's made. So you're telling me, give me somebody at 6,900 at 1% owned that's definitely going to make the cut? He putts okay, but doesn't make 3 putts. I'm telling you, 69th driving distance, it's okay. There's an argument to be made for Danny Willett at 1% owned. If he gets to 2% owned, it's probably not a good idea. But 1% owned, a guy that's 8 out of 9 times going to make the cut, maybe he finishes in the top 25 or 30. Dude, you give me Danny Willett, then you can go take JT at 22% or Willie Zalatoris at 22%. It's a pair. It works. You got to find guys that match up there, and that matches up. Actually, let me go down here. I think there's something else with Danny Willett too. No, not at all. There's a reason though. I like it. All right, continuing down this list, Ches Reavie, again, another guy that doesn't model out fantastically, But let's see why I like Ches Reavie, or at least I'm thinking about it. 15th to Wells Fargo, 13th to Mexico. Okay, so yeah, it's because if I would have gone the last 12 rounds or 8 rounds, he'd be near top. Last week, 15th to Wells Fargo, gain strokes everywhere but off the tee. But we're not worried about off the tee because it's pretty easy to hit the fairway. And if you don't hit the fairway, there's not much to worry about in the rough. It's not very penal. Mexico Open, same thing, 13th place. Lost strokes off the tee, gained it everywhere else. Again, not worried about it here. The Mexico Open, we weren't worried about not hitting the fairway. So why would we worry about it here? Missed the cut the RBC and lost a crap ton of strokes there. But the Valspar 39th, lost strokes on off the tee, broke even on approach, but gained them everywhere else. It's important this week. So again, yeah, you even go back to the Genesis where he finished in 10th place. Gained 5.4 tee to green, 7.4 around the green, 2.1 putting. Dude, Ches Reavie is a guy that you should be looking at. And where's Ches Reavie's ownership? 1.7%. Again, try to find these guys that have really high upside down here in this birdie fest. And that's what you do. You pair these 1% guys. Like Hudson Swafford. I got a bet on Hudson Swafford to win this event. I do. And I like Hudson Swafford. But he's at almost 7% right now. 6.9% owned. He's only got a couple 30s on his resume. His last 4 events he's made the cut, but 36, 58, 30, and 35th. Do I like Hudson Swafford? I have an outright bet. What did I get him at? Not Hudson Stafford, like I put on the Twitter page. Hudson Swafford is his name. I got him at 250 to 1 to win this event. I think it's a fantastic bet. He's 15th in my model. He's going to attack those long par threes. He's a good driver of the golf ball distance-wise. But you really want him at 7% owned? I don't know about that. It's scary. Go down a little bit more. Austin Smotherman, I can't believe he hasn't gone up in price. He's still only 6,600. It's probably why he's projected at near 10% owned right now. I'm not playing Austin Smotherman at 10%. I mean, 25th last week, 67th, 61st the weeks before. Really losing strokes and making the cut. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he hasn't gotten a price jump. But 9%, not playing him. That's false hope there at 9% for him. I go down to Callum Tarrant, 40th in my model, 6,400. He's projected at 1.1% ownership percentage. But you just got to look at his breakdown of recency. Last 2 events, made the cut in both of them. Okay, let me go to his DraftKings page here real quick and see where it is. He's trending in the right direction, Callum Tom, for sure. Man, there's way too many names down here. Way too many names. Let me just type it in and sort it that way. I don't have to sort through all these things here. Karen, tell him here. All right. You throw in his Corn Ferry Tour event, 7th place. He's 5th place at the Puerto Rico Open, 7th on the Corn Ferry, made the last couple cuts. It's a name to look at right there. 6,400. It's a guy that you might want to look at. 1% owned. These are the guys you're looking at. Flavin, the captain of Flavortown, Patrick Flavin, missed the cut at the Mexico Open. So maybe not. Let me see what Flavin here on DraftKings tells me here. He's made 3 of his last 4 cuts. That's not bad. But at 6,200, where's his ownership percentage coming in at? 0.5%. Why not? All right, so I got my, last week my 6K Whisper. I'm not even going to talk about it because it was my first one in a while that didn't work out for me. But I got one this week, and we're going to go all the way down here to 6,100 for it. He actually models out at 26 for me. Why? Because he makes birdies. He's really good on the par 5s. Second in the field in putting. 29th in DraftKings points. How he's second in putting, but 68th in 3-putt avoidance, I have no idea. It's Mr. Martin Trainer. All right? And it's all because he finished 11th at the Mexico Open last week and 7th at the Puerto Rico Open. Or not the Puerto Rico Open, the Punta Cana. All right? Let me see his DraftKings page here. See what else we get here on it. Missed the cut at Wells Fargo. 11th, missed cut. 7th, missed cut. Dude, it's a putter. If this becomes a putting contest, which it is, everybody's going to hit the fairway. Everybody's going to hit the green. It's going to come down to a putting contest. At 0.5% owned projection right now, I'll probably go up. Once people start seeing his putting numbers, that's going to go up, obviously. Obviously going to go up. So, what do? You bet the putters. Martin Trainer. That's my 6K whisper of the week. No doubt about it at all. 6,100. He will make the cut. Guarantee. I'm going to get off that 1 week snide of my 6K whisper not making the cut. So what have we learned here today? Let's take this off the screen here. That ownership percentage this week is going to play a massive, massive factor. Okay? Massive factor. So stay close attention to them. But you're looking at guys that are going to score points. So like I said, I really like this. We're gonna do a test. Now that I talked about it, I kind of feel like I've got to test this out. Test this theory out here on a DraftKings screen here. Where's my shared screen button here? All right. Don't look at my DraftKings bank account. I can't really take that off the screen here. Let's see how this works out. I'm going to sort this by ownership percentages. I have another screen, and I'm sorting it by ownership percentages. And I'm looking at my favorite guys that are owned high. Will Zalatoris, Joakim Niemann, okay? 21% and a 17% owned guy. And I'm going to build this lineup here. And we're going to see how this thing plays out. So we're playing two guys in the 9Ks, super high owned, okay? So now we're going to unsort my other screen there by this. We're going to go down to the 7K range here. We're going to try to find guys I like that are low owned. Oh, there. Pat Kaziri's 11%. No. So we're going to go further down. We're going to go Danny Willett, okay? We're going to play Willett here because he's going to come in right now at 1%. Let's continue on this stretch down here. Ches Reavie, 1.5% right now, all right? So I've just taken two guys have really high ownership percentage and paired them with two guys that have low ownership percentage. Still leaves me with 8,800. So let me go back up here into this 8K range, upper 7K range. We throw a Davis Riley at 5% owned. It just pulls it up right away. It leaves me 9,900. I mean, I can't pick a decky here because that would leave me zero left in the pool, so for anybody that's playing, smart play is always to leave at least $100 on the table. I like to leave $300, $500, $700 on the table. Sometimes I leave $2,000 on the table. I'll do all 7K lineups sometimes. You want to leave it because if you max out your money, there's more of a likelihood that you're going to have a duplicate lineup with somebody else. And you don't want to have duplicate lineups. Then if you absolutely get a chance to win, there's a chance that you might have to split the winners. So you want to be able to be as different from everybody else as possible. So this lineup here, I got two 1% guys and a 5% guy. So then that means Sam Burns, who's all the way up to 21%, I don't feel as bad about playing Sam Burns right now. So I got about 60% there, but I've only got about 70% spent. Like if there's a 100% ownership thing, you want to try to stay in that 80 to 90% owned, 70 to 80% owned. I've not spent it. I've spent under 70% total combined ownership percentage. That's good. Combined ownership percentage should never get over 80 or 90%. I've got three guys in the 20% range, 17 to 22% range, and I feel this is one of my entries in a 20 max entry. I'm doing the $20 entry max $1 tournament. I'm just going to lock this in right now because I think these guys are all going to make it to my player pool at some point, and I think this is a fair way to go. Updated lineup, it's in. Try not to copy it, please. But I think there's an argument to be made on doing that, and I think that's the way to go. All right, so betting wise, let's take this. Let's stop sharing this screen here. While I'm on here, I want to pull up my sportsbook account real quick so I can get all my bets that I've made so far. There's a fun little parlay, so I did throw a couple bucks on it. And again, I bet small guys. I'm a baby better. $1, $2, that's it. At a time. I just wanted to pull this up. So they were offering DraftKings. I don't know if it's still up there. It's a 3-pick parlay, plus 472, almost 5-1 on your money. Scotty Scheffler to finish in the top 10, Xander to finish the top 20, which we didn't talk about Xander. But I mean, I just don't think the value is there to play him. He's a top 20 guy, but I don't think his win equity is there. Jordan Spieth, top 40. So I threw a couple bucks on it. But my other bets this week are as follows. I've got, like I said, Willie Zalatoris. He was only 14-1. Some sportsbooks had him at 20. Then he dropped 14-1. But I placed a $5 bet, which is a huge. That's 5 times my average. My average bet for a golfer is $1. Sometimes 50 cents. On some long shots. Sometimes I'll go up to $2. I had $5 on Cam Smith to win the Players, and that's how confident I was. And guess what? Cam Smith won the Players. I had him $5 on to win the Masters. He contended. So Willie Zalatoris, I have a $5 free bet on him. It's free, yes, but I would have probably bet $3 or $4 on Willie Zalatoris to win this event, no matter what. I love Willie Zalatoris this week. Cannot stress that enough. Betting wise, cannot stress it enough. I've got Joakim Neiman at 35-1, Taylor Gooch 45-1, Adam Hadwin 55. I'm betting Adam Hadwin almost every week that he, has a shot, because Adam Hadwin's going to win an event this year. I say that about a bunch of guys, but I said that about Max Homa last week. Guess what? Let me change that. Max Homa won last week. He was going to win an event soon, and he won. So I feel really confident about my system, and it's working. I got Kitayama at 100-1. I think it's a great value. And I added, just literally like an hour ago, I added Lanto Griffin at 80-1. So far, Willie Z 14-1, Neiman 35-1, Gooch 45, Hadwin 55, Lanto Griffin 80-1. Does anybody think about Lanto Griffin, that episode of The Family Guy, when Peter Griffin went undercover as Lanto Griffin, the young new cool kid in town? I don't know. Something about a frog and drugs. I don't know. I remember it. Every time I think of Lanto Griffin, I think of Peter Griffin. Anyway, 80-1 on him. Kitayama 100-1. And again, like I said, not Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Swafford at 250-1 as my long shot. They're my bets this week. And again, it's hard to judge who's going to win this week. Whether it's going to be a long shot or whether it's going to be one of the top guys, because it's the week before major, and they're going to take it seriously. I really do believe if you're in the event, you take it seriously. But maybe on Sunday, it's going to be like 90 degrees every day down there in Texas. Maybe by Sunday, some of these guys kind of conserve some of their energy for next week. Maybe not. I don't know. It's only a 200-mile trek to Southern Hills. So maybe I feel better playing in fantasy some of these guys than I do outright betting. I'm not outright betting 9-1 on Scotty Scheffler to win. Top 10, pretty good likelihood. Top 20, definitely. But am I going to bet him to win? No. I really think that if Zalatoris doesn't win, those mid-range guys in the 30 to 50-1, the Neimans, the Gooches, the Hadwins, the Lantos, that's the range where this event, the champion, is going to come from. But again, I wish I knew how to look it up. What he was odds-wise. Let me see if I can Google search this as I'm talking. K.H. Lee odds 2021 Byron Nelson. Let me see what he was to win last year. It's 2022 still. So that's a no. I don't know what it was, but pretty sure he was a long shot to win. Pretty sure. Let's see here. This article doesn't say it either. I'm trying to find an old article or something like that would say it. Maybe if I jump to Twitter. Whatever, guys. He was a long shot. That's why I got Hudson Swafford, not Matthew Stafford winning at 250-1 and Kitayama at 100-1. I don't think Kitayama 100-1 is that much of a long shot to win it. He can win. He's had some really good finishes on tour this year. So yeah, that's what we got here. It's my time 7:04. You're watching this at about 9:50 right now, 9:55 when you're watching this. Sixers game might be over. Hopefully the Sixers win against the Heat here tonight in Game 5. But again, make sure you follow me at Fairway to Heaven. That's the golf account. If you send me a DM there, ask me any fantasy golf, gambling golf questions, I will answer them. I'll know the DMs coming in there or whatever. You can also hit me up at Beard of Knowledge. My name's Phil Stifle right there. It's my personal account. If you're watching this on Twitter, make sure you hit the retweet button. Please help me share this out. Everybody get as much of this great information as possible. Shout out to our partner at Fantasy National Golf Club at Fantasy National, fantasynational.com. That's where the model tool comes from. The ownership projections come from. Great site. If you sign up for their site, I'm not sure what their current price is per month, per week. Just send them a DM. Let them know that you heard about them and saw them right here on Fairway to Heaven. I greatly appreciate that support there. And of course, always 99jersey.com. Promo code trending. That's my morning show's name, trending, for 15% off on their jersey site right there. Great job. If you're watching, like I said, on Twitter, make sure you hit that retweet button and follow us on Twitter. If you're watching on the DSM Media Twitter page, follow DSM Media, retweet it out on DSM Media's page, and then shoot over to the Fairway to Heaven page. Follow us there as well. Make sure you're on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, thumbs up, like that post, share it out to all your friends. You can make a lot of money. Somebody hit me up on Twitter this week. Said, I didn't even know there was fantasy golf. Fantasy golf's the best. It's the best sport. It's a roller coaster of emotions for 4 nights. 4 days. And make sure you follow me on Twitter also because of my showdowns. Because this might be a roller coaster, but there's the showdowns. And I've been cashing again. 23rd, I think I finished in a showdown this week. I'm going to win a showdown. Guarantee it. And I've got a process for the showdown. I try to do more information. I wish I had more time, less time at work, and more time on this so I could do some showdown shows on the weekends. I just haven't had the time. Maybe this weekend I'll try to squeeze in some time to do a showdown show. I don't know. We'll do our best. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up there. It's the DSM Media page. Thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. We're on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. every single week. But I got great shows. I do a morning show 5 days a week. Other great shows on the DSM Media. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. I got a line of fantasy football content coming out this year. So you got to be tapped in. It's going to be YouTube exclusive. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. There's a little bell there on YouTube. That's the notifications. Turn the bell on. And you'll get a little notification whenever I'm live. So make sure you do that for me. Everybody have a great week. Let's follow up last week's great. Let's throw it again. Max Homa, 28-1. My 7th outright in the last 16 months. I want that percentage to get higher, but still 7 outrights. Great. Let's follow it up with a big win. Willie Zalatoris. That's my goal. I would be very happy. Lanto Griffin. Some of these other guys as well. Kirk Kitayama. Let's get another win in the win column for the good guys this week. Right there. Again, everybody have a great night. Go Sixers. Hopefully you're watching this right now, and the Sixers have won Game 5. If not, damn it. But, otherwise, let's hope that's good. Everybody have a great night. We're going to play it off to a commercial real quick, so make sure you watch the commercial right here on 99jerseys.com. And everybody have a great night. Let's win another one. Yo. Man, let's cash. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Phil Stiefel here. Trending in the AM. Look at this site right here, 99jerseys.com. Proud supporter of all Trending in the AM shows. Make sure you check them out. Like I said, 99jerseys.com. They have the best jerseys of all your favorite athletes from high school, college, movies, TV shows. You got the Kobe Bryant, Lower Merion, the Charlie Conway, Mighty Ducks. Everybody always asks where I got my Sugar Shane Falco jersey back there from the Replacements movie. 99jerseys.com. Magic Johnson, Michigan State, Lonzo Ball, Jalen Rose, you name it, Russell Westbrook, you name it, they've got it on this site. Make sure you check them out, 99jerseys.com. Use promo code TRENDING at checkout. It gets you 15% off right away. 99jerseys.com, promo code TRENDING. Yo, support the podcast that brings you the heat every single